And let me talk about item number 32, which is Integrated Refugee and Immigrant Services. This is an organization that has been up at the Capitol many, many times supporting Husky for Immigrants. Through you, Madam President, can you, through you to the proponent of the bill, again, relative to our amendment, where we know what LIHEAP does and we know what Meals for Wheels is, can the good chairman of the Appropriations Committee tell us what this IRIS organization in line T32 is going to spend their $225,000 on? Through you.
Thank you. Senator Austin.
Thank you very much, Madam President. And Madam President, IRIS is a group that handles refugee and immigrant services, much akin to the Connecticut Institute for Refugees and Immigrants and the Connecticut Immigrant and Refugee Coalition Incorporated. And the work that they do houses people that come to our country legally. They come as refugees from war-torn areas. And I spoke in favor of supporting our Afghan people coming to this country because their country was in disarray, and they stood by our American veterans. They stood by our American military. They acted as interpreters for our American military and were under direct attack. Ukraine, under direct attack by Russia. Whether people like Russia or they don't like Russia, I don't really care. The fact is that Ukraine is under direct attack by Russia. I have my own opinion on Russia. It has to do with my history. So they and China belong in an area that I don't even want to begin, but I want to welcome those people here and provide them. Now, refugees are people who come here legally. Immigrants are people who come here legally. Most of my farms need people that are immigrants to do the work of those farms. They come here legally. And what they want to do is they want to learn English. And this helps them learn English. They need a place to stay until they get a job. That's what they want to do. On Saturday, I was at a Norwich refugee resettlement group where we were raising money for the next refugee family to come here, again, legally. And we were raising $20,000. Now these dollars here will help them settle those people in the way that we would like them to settle. Give them an opportunity to learn the language, get them a job, help them settle into a community. Make sure they have pots and pans and kitchen utensils. Make sure that they have a kitchen table. Make sure that they have a couch. That's what these dollars are for, is to settle people into a unit that they can start rebuilding their lives. Quite frankly, some of them don't want to be here. They're here because their country is torn apart. So is this an emergency or not? I think there are a lot of emergencies going on today. And I keep many of my comments to myself on these issues. But today, these people who come here because they helped our military as interpreters in other countries, because their country is war-torn, because we need help on our farms and group homes and nursing homes, and we need people to come from other countries because we have only 80,000 jobs in Connecticut that we can't fill with the lowest unemployment in forever. We need people to come here. I'm going to welcome those people to come here, and I'm going to make sure that they can get jobs here and become tax-paying citizens themselves, because that's what they are becoming, tax-paying citizens themselves. And that's what we want. We want them to be taxpayers. And that's where we are moving towards today. Through you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Austin. Senator Sampson.
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate the gentlelady trying to redirect the conversation to people that are in the country lawfully attempting to seek asylum or refugee status, but that's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to an article that appeared in the CT Sentinel on January 27th, which pointed out that IRIS provides services for refugee and immigrants, including illegals, and they provide legal services, including deportation defense, and they even have a organization within IRIS called SUN, Services for Undocumented Neighbors. So through you, Madam President, can the good chairman of the Appropriations Committee assure me that not one single dollar of the $225,000 that we are going to award this organization in this bill is not going to be used for illegal immigration? Through you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Austin.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Senator Sampson.
Thank you, Madam President. I understood your comments to be in very much favor of lawful refugees and asylum seekers, and I share that same sentiment with you, Madam Chairman, completely, 100%. My question is about the priorities of this body and the majority party putting this item on this in this bill to award this organization $225,000, and I pointed out that maybe they do some of the good work that you mentioned, but they also do provide services for illegal aliens, including deportation defense, and they have an organization within IRIS called SUN, Services for Undocumented Neighbors. That would lead me to believe that they also spend their resources on helping undocumented or illegal aliens. What my question was is very clearly, can you guarantee this body and the people of Connecticut that if we award them $225,000 in this bill, that none of that money will go towards illegal immigration and only towards refugees for the reasons that you described? Through you, Madam President.
Senator Austin.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Trying to keep my comments as brief as possible. Many of the people that are here legally are having their status challenged and changed after they have gotten here. So it's hard to say that they're not going to be under the current administration being considered undocumented when they are not. Through you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Sampson.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't believe that the President of the United States decides who's undocumented or not. We have federal immigration law supreme to the state of Connecticut. Despite the disagreement of the majority party here, the federal government does determine who's lawfully in the country and who does not. That doesn't have anything to do with my question, though. My question was, can we guarantee that none of this $225,000 will be used for benefiting illegal immigration? Through you.
I believe this
Austin.
thank you very much, Madam President. I'm sorry. I believe that this is for refugees and immigrants.
Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I appreciate the answer. It's not as conclusive as I'd like it to be, but I'll accept that as an answer. Can I ask, as a follow-up to that, through you, Madam President, how are we going to determine how these organizations that I enumerated are going to spend their money? This is just like our budget. When we draft a budget, we have a budget that has a bunch of line items, but there's always an implementer bill that goes with it, that is the policy behind the line items that says how it's to be used. Where is the implementation language? We're just giving money and a check, $225,000 to this organization. What will dictate how they spend that money? Through you, Madam President.
Senator Austin.
Thank you very much, Madam President. A contract with the Judicial Department for these respective expenses.
Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Madam President. So I did notice that under this section of the bill, it says that it's the Judicial Department that will be engaged in the contract writing. Who is guiding the Judicial Department on what to put in these contracts? Through you.
Senator Sampson, would like to point out that we are debating the amendment, not the underlying bill, so I'd love it if we could just focus on the amendment that is before the chamber.
Thank you, Madam President. I am indeed focusing on the amendment. This amendment is a debate over whether or not we should spend money on the organizations that I listed versus the organizations in the amendment, which is the Low-Income Heating Assistance Program and Meals on Wheels, in effect. Poor people, for lack of a better term, in the state of Connecticut, people truly in need, versus all of these far-left organizations that are promoting illegal immigration, gender reassignment surgery, and so on. And I'm trying to illustrate that there's real concerns about where this money is going. If we heard that this money is actually going to go to people that are in the country lawfully as documented immigrants and they're truly in need, I might reconsider my position. But I'm not hearing that. And I would like to know how we know this money is going to be spent on them and not to promote illegal immigration. So it is definitely relevant in my view, Madam President.
Thank you. Was that a question to Senator Austin?
I did ask a question to Senator Austin, which was, how does the Judiciary Department determine what to put in these contracts? Who's guiding them? Is it OPM guiding them? Is it the Appropriations Chair? Is it the majority leadership? Who's determining what the Judiciary Department puts in these contracts to determine how that money is spent by these organizations? Through you.
Senator Austin.
Thank you very much, Madam President. And through you, the Judicial Department is well versed on contracts and confines of what those contracts are going to contain. It's not done by the legislature, so it wouldn't be done by any chair of any committee, nor would it be done by anybody that's an elected official in the legislature. And it would not be, I really actually quite forgot what his other, OPM. OPM is a different branch of government, and the Judicial Department would be handling this through you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Well, I appreciate that answer, but I have to tell you it's unbelievably concerning. We're writing blank checks. We're writing blank checks here to all of these organizations, which are activist organizations that engage mostly in issues advocacy. So I'm confused. I mean, we're going to just let the Judicial Department determine what they put in their contract dictating how they can spend the money without any oversight? I mean, we don't do that for any other money that the state gives out. We always have a policy that goes with the line item in the budget. If we have money going to the Department of Agriculture, it says what that money's for. It's for personnel and benefits, and it's for this program or that program. We don't just write a check. So with respect to my earlier question, which was, can we guarantee this money is not going for purposes that are in direct defiance of the federal government, putting our federal benefits and people in the state at risk? You said yes, we can be sure of that, but I don't know how. If you're not overseeing the Judicial Department and OPM is not, the Judicial Department will simply get to do it on their own, based on their own political views. Is that correct through you, Madam Chairman? President, rather?
Senator Austin.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Madam President, the Judicial Department does not write contracts based on their political bent. I don't even know what their political bent is. And every contract that is written by the Judicial Department is then reviewed by the Attorney General. Through you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I missed the answer because I was having a sidebar, and I apologize. Can I have the answer again?
Senator Austin.
Thank you. I'll try to regurgitate what I just said. The Judicial Department writes its contracts, and then the contracts are then overseen by, again reviewed by the Attorney General. I do not know the Judicial Department's political bent. I don't know that they have one. And that would be through you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Sampson.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll just a final question on this thing. So I'm surprised to hear that the Attorney General is the final arbiter of what should appear in these contracts. I'm curious to know what authority he has to determine how the taxpayers' money is spent. I thought that was the purview of the legislative body. I thought it was the purview of the Appropriations Committee. I thought that the chair of the Appropriations Committee would be very concerned about how this money is spent and want to dictate exactly how these organizations are to spend it. But what I'm hearing is that these organizations are going to be given effectively blank checks and that the Judicial Department will write the contract determining how they can spend their money with no direction that I can surmise from any of our conversation, and that the Attorney General will ultimately approve it. That does not sound like the people of Connecticut are going to be represented in that discussion.